My name is Lin Xiaoqing. I am 35 years old, and my husband, Chen Jianguo, is 60. We have been married for 8 years and have 2 children. One is 6 years old and the other is 3. We live in Shanghai, a bustling city that can make it hard to breathe. Chen Jianguo earns about 30,000 yuan a month, while my income is around 10,000. In Shanghai, this kind of income only counts as being at the bottom rung of the workforce. Life is tight, and we are far from being well off. Our marriage has long existed in name only, especially since I became pregnant with our second child in 2019. Our marital intimacy has almost completely ceased twice since then. As a woman in the prime of my life, this has left me feeling deeply repressed and full of longing. Looking back, my marriage to Chen Jianguo was not because of love. When I was young, I was attracted to mature and steady older men, and I thought men more than 10 years older than me were more charming. Chen Jianguo took advantage of this and hid his real age when we were dating. He told me he was only about 10 years older than me, which I felt was acceptable. It wasn't until the day we registered our marriage and I saw his ID card that I was shocked to discover he was actually 25 years older than me. To this day, he still won't admit it, insisting that the age on his ID was a clerical error, but deep down I know that's just an excuse. At that time, I was already nearing 30, and the pressure from my family to get married felt like a mountain, suffocating me. My social circle was small, and I was introverted and honest by nature, so there were hardly any other suitable men around me. In the end, I chose to compromise and entered into this marriage. Married life was far from the happiness I had imagined. Chen Jianguo was busy with work every day, leaving early and coming home late, constantly hustling to cover our household expenses. He gave me 20,000 yuan each month for household use, taking on most of the family's financial burden. But I knew that his income was much more than the 30,000 won he claimed on the surface. He also had some off the books earnings, though I never found out exactly how much. This lack of financial transparency created a barrier between us. We hardly communicated, living like strangers in parallel worlds. I was busy taking care of our 2 young children and managing the household, while he devoted all his energy to work, barely paying any attention to matters at home. Especially after having our second child, our relationship grew even more distant, and life felt stagnant and lifeless. As a normal woman, I had a strong longing for intimacy. Chen Jianguo's indifference and the age gap between us left me unfulfilled. I tried to communicate with him, but every time it ended either in silence or in arguments. I also considered other ways to ease the emptiness inside, but I just couldn't accept using toys. I could never get past that psychological barrier. Gradually, some bold ideas began to take root in my mind. Maybe I could find a man to satisfy my needs, while still keeping my family stable. Divorce was out of the question for me. With my abilities, there was no way I could support 2 children on my own. I consider myself to have decent looks. I've kept my figure in good shape, and I have a gentle air about me. I may not be stunning, but I'm certainly not so desperate that I have to throw myself at men just to get their attention. But reality always lets me down. Some male colleagues would rather flirt with older women than even notice me. 2 months ago, I mustered up the courage to add a male colleague on WeChat, and after work, I directly asked him if he wanted to go out with me. To my surprise, he turned me down. That rejection hit me hard and left me feeling disheartened, making me wonder if I really had lost all my appeal. Last month, I finally took a step forward and managed to get involved with a male colleague named Zhang Haoren. He's in his 40s, a few years older than me. He isn't particularly handsome, but his looks are decent. He works in the sales department while I'm in administration, so we don't really interact at work. One time, while browsing the employee directory, I happened to see his name. I vaguely remembered that he had spoken at a staff meeting before and left a good impression, so I casually added him on WeChat. For me, this was already settling for less, since I don't have what it takes to go after those more attractive men. At first, I just wanted a one-night stand with him to satisfy my physical needs, and then we would each go back to our own lives. But things weren't that simple. After our first date, our relationship didn't end there. He would say sweet things to me, making me feel noticed and needed. It was like my hopelessly romantic side had been awakened, and I even started fantasizing about being in a relationship with him. He had me completely wrapped around his finger, and I forgot my original intention. Once, I couldn't help but ask him, "Do you think your wife might be doing the same thing out there?" I knew he and his wife lived in different cities as she was in Beijing, and only came back a few times a year. He said his wife wasn't that kind of person, and that he trusted her. His answer was like a bucket of cold water poured over my head, suddenly snapping me back to reality. I realized that I was nothing more than a fleeting episode in his life, while he was full of trust for his wife. In that moment, I was overwhelmed with mixed emotion, sadness, and guilt all at once. On impulse, I said goodbye to him, deleted him from WeChat, and even blocked his number. But after deleting him, I started to regret it. That day, I kept staring at my alternate account to see if he would try to add me. He only sent one friend request, which I didn't accept. Later, he called me once, but I blocked him right away. Still, I couldn't calm my heart. It always felt like something was missing. Just yesterday, he found me at the office and said he wanted to talk for a bit. I glanced around. Colleagues were coming and going, and there were cameras watching. I hurriedly refused, afraid someone might notice something. I know that seeing another man outside of my marriage is risky, and deep down I'm both scared and worried that Chen Jianguo will find out. So far, nothing has happened between Zhang Haoran and me, and for now I trust he won't say anything, but this constant anxiety is making it hard for me to eat or sleep. Most men spend some money when they're seeing a woman, but I'm an exception. Zhang Haoran takes me to his place for our date, so we even save on hotel expenses. He says his wife only comes back from Beijing once or twice a year, so the house is very safe. I warned him that this was risky, but he just shrugged it off and said there was nothing to worry about. His income is about the same as mine, around 10,000 yuan a month. I guess the main reason he invites me to his place is to save money. Yesterday he asked me out for dinner, but I didn't go because I was really busy. After work, I have to rush home to take care of the kids. Both children are still young and have weak health, so I can't afford to stay out for long. All the household responsibilities fall on my shoulders. Chen Jianguo never takes care of any of this. Thinking back to when we decided to have a second child, our relationship wasn't as bad as it is now, but these days I don't even have the energy to say an extra word to him. Actually, I've always been hesitant about extramarital sex, worried that Chen Jianguo might find out, and it's been eating me up inside. At first, I only wanted extramarital sex, without any emotional involvement, thinking that would suit me better, but somehow things still ended up like this. I also considered hooking up for a one-night stand online, but it just never felt safe. There are all kinds of people online, and I'm worried about running into someone dangerous. Plus, I don't have the time to get to know anyone slowly. Although I see people at work all the time, most of them are just acquaintances I nod to, but knowing someone's background actually feels safer. But nothing is perfect. I'm still afraid that if things get exposed, it could ruin my family. I've also had concerns, like whether I might catch an STD or something like that. But I comforted myself, thinking that people these days care about hygiene, so I probably wouldn't be that unlucky. I never thought about getting a divorce. Seeing men outside was just to satisfy certain needs, and after the date, we'd go back to being strangers and continue with our own lives. But reality isn't that simple. Last night, a little after 3 in the morning, Zhang Haoran sent me a message, and I haven't heard from him since. Yet I'm acting like I'm under a spell, constantly waiting for his reply. His sweet words made my heart flutter, but I never responded with anything nice. When I was with Chen Jianguo, I never felt insecure. I'd reach out whenever I wanted. But when it comes to Zhang Haoran, I'm always walking on eggshells, always waiting for him to make the first move. If we really cut off contact completely, it feels like I've lost my soul. I can't eat, and I can't sleep well either. At first, I was the one who took the initiative, but now I just can't let go. Yesterday, I couldn't hold it in anymore and told a close friend about it. She said I could keep seeing him, but only to satisfy physical needs. Don't chat. Just send a message when I want it. If men can do it, so can you. Hearing her say that, I thought it made sense, and I even felt a glimmer of hope. But last night, when she messaged me, I still couldn't help chatting with him. I know that the more we talk, the more feelings develop, so it's best not to chat. I half-jokingly told him, "You can mess around with my body all you want, just don't play with my feelings." He said he's a simple-minded person and never intended to deceive me, that his feelings for me are genuine. But while his words sound sincere, his actions seem fake. Otherwise, why hasn't he contacted me again until now?